Hey everyone, and welcome back to It's a Cold World. I'm so excited and so happy because I have the one and only Alice Kunek joining me as my very special guest, aka Alice, aka my best friend. So, Alice, welcome from China.
That was the best intro ever. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, wifey.
So, I cannot wait to get in with you because you've had a most amazing career. I could name so many things. So, if you guys live under a rock, go Wikipedia, go Google what Alice has done. She's Opal, 3x3, WMBL champ, All Star 5, you name it. She's done it. She's been in EuroLeague. Now she's in China. And China seems to be the new hip hop spot. And I feel like Alice has been the pioneer of Australian women. She went for the first time last season. So I really want to dive into that. And what got you there? What was the decision to go, hey, let's try out China because their league has been known to be like really good?
Yeah, it is a really good league here in China. So last year we were playing for Southside together and probably wasn't the best season. And I had the opportunity to go either play in Europe or to go play. Well, I actually had an opportunity to go play in Prague. Anyway, I was literally about to sign the dotted line to go play in Prague. And then my agent came through and just said, there's an offer in China. He had a client in the same team, Kalani Brown. The team is actually called Inner Mongolia. So it's still in China and still in the WCBA, but it's like really up north. So I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a fun time. Let's do it. Reality check. No, I'm kidding. I landed, it was like minus 20 degrees. I was like, oh God, this is not Melbourne summer. But no, super grateful for the opportunity. I went into just a really great situation. The club were amazing. We had like Chinese coaches, but spoke really good English. We had a Spanish coach that looked after us really well. So it was just a really, really great opportunity. We didn't make the grand final series, but we had a really good playoff series. I was lucky enough to play well while I was over in China. And I guess that kind of put me in steadfast to come back here. I was playing in Turkey. Where I did break my finger. But then when I came back playing, Beijing reached out to my agent and just said, look, we want to buy her out. So they bought me out of my contract and I was on a plane on December 31st to Beijing. So here I am.
And like you said, Inner Mongolia, yes, it's still a part of China, but it's also so far away from
Yeah,
everything. We talk on FaceTime for those who don't know, literally
every
too
day.
many hours of the day, every day.
Every day.
And I could give you an insight to a whole life, but it was insane to see, like you said, how cold it was. What is the culture shock like? You have literally almost lived everywhere in the world. And even though, yes, Asia is closer to home, closer to family, it's also still very, very different. What was that like for you in that first season?
It definitely was a culture shock. I have been lucky enough, like you said, to play all around the world, and I visited China and Japan many times with the national team. So I guess I understood China, but coming to visit China compared to just coming for a 2-week tour is very, very different. But to be honest, I was honestly really surprised in just the most beautiful way. I will say though, it was quite funny. So basically I had to make the cutoff date to basically be cleared to play. So I went to Hong Kong, had to get my visa. So I had 2 days in Hong Kong. And then at like 9 p.m. at night, my agent was like, all right, we've got to get on a flight tonight to Beijing. And I was like, okay, but what's happening next? And he's like, we're going to get you on a flight to Beijing tonight from Hong Kong. And then we're going to drive through the night to get to Inner Mongolia. And it was like a 6 hour drive. And anyway, I think I still clearly remember I had like my big down Nike jacket on top of me. And I remember as we got more north, it just kept getting colder and colder. And I have played in Russia, so I know what the cold is like in Russia. And I literally was like, am I in Russia? Like, this is just wild. But anyway, they looked after me so well. Honestly, I couldn't be more, I don't know what the word is. I couldn't be more delighted and just grateful for how the Chinese culture is. They really look after you. They'll do anything. They'll go any way out of their way to make your life easier. Yes, it is a really tough league. They expect results here. You train hard. You know, we're doing double practices 3 hours a day at the moment. Oh my God. But they expect results and they make you work hard, but at the same time, they really do look after you. And I felt nothing but love from, you know, the WCBA and the teams that I played for. Inner Mongolia was honestly, I'm still friends with all the coaches. And every time I played some of the girls this season, you know, I've just been met with just the biggest hugs and they take me out for dinner. And I've had some really good teammates in the Guangdong team that I've really caught up with, like while I've been there last year and this year. And yeah, it's just been really a beautiful, beautiful experience for me.
And you said it, you're training so much at the moment because there's now a break of playing games, and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
can you pass me the compression boots? Can you pass me an anti-inflam? Actually, you know what? I'll just go step outside because it's that cold. I'll use that as a nice bar. But for those who don't know, obviously, like you said, double days right now, 3-hour practices plus gym. When you are playing, for everyone who doesn't know, what does that schedule look like? How many times a week are you playing? What's the routine for like game weeks?
Yeah, so we're in the period now. So we finished our season the 1st of February. That was our last official game. And when I got from Turkey to China, we literally would play every 2 or 3 days. So the schedule was very hectic. And, you know, China's not a small place. So you're literally flying from one end of China to the other. You know, we're lucky to be in Beijing, obviously the capital. So we've got trains and we've got planes at the ready to go. We're not having to travel super, super far like some other teams. But yeah, we were playing every 2 or 3 days. So you weren't training that much, only because you just couldn't get the recovery in and you just really couldn't get the time because you were playing and training so much. But now we've got 3 weeks. No, it's okay. We had a 3-hour practice yesterday, and I just kept looking at the clock thinking, like, surely it has to be finished soon. And it just kept going and going and going. But I was like, oh, it's okay. So no, we are training, you know, most days twice a day. But my coach and my club are really good. They asked me, I had a little, we played the cup last week and I had like a little cork in my leg. So they just asked me, like, you know, until you're fully ready, like you don't have to train. But I said, no, I'm happy to train. But they're like, okay, what can we do to make your life easier? And like, if you need to miss a session or not go as hard, like you do that as well. So no, they've been really good. But you know, we've got basically now 2 and a bit weeks until we start the playoffs. So I guess they're trying to get as much work in as they can.
And they sure are, ladies and gents, because on the weekend, I went to the Grand Prix. I love the F1. And I was lucky enough, Rita Ora was there in concert.
Oh,
And I'm there FaceTiming Alice while she's on the treadmill in the gym. And I was just like, oh, yeah, she's working. Like, this is a weekend. There's no time to play here. So that's how hard she's working. But another thing with, we all know we've been to China to play a lot. There's a lot of
mhm.
Chinese who speak really good English, and then there's others who honestly don't speak a lot. So, do you have translators, or what's it like when it's training and coaching, and then even just talking to some of your teammates?
So last season when I played in Inner Mongolia, we had so many, our coach spoke really good English and so did our 2 assistants. And we did have a really great translator, Ricky, but I feel like he was more of our like emotional support vehicle. Like shout out to Ricky, he was honestly the best. Kalani and I would just like text him in all random hours, like, Ricky, help us. He was so great. But this year we've got a beautiful lady in, her name is Shirley. And because our coach and coaching staff don't speak a lot of English here, she is basically our lifeline. Like she translate absolute everything for us. So she is super great. So like food apps, you know, on the court, off the court, she does absolutely everything. So she's really good. We don't have many speaking players in our team. Like we've got maybe 2 or 3 that you could probably have like a decent amount conversation with. But a lot of the girls in my team, they are younger, so they don't speak as well as good English. But they all, I think, understand a lot of it. But I think they're just a little bit shy to speak it as well. So, and because they are younger, I understand. Also, I'm in their country too, so I'm not here like judging anyone. So I always try and teach them little words and like they teach me little words here and there. So no, it's good. And I'm always like trying to count in Chinese and like learn different things and learn their Chinese names. So no, it's good. And Shirley's great. Like it makes our life so much easier having her. And sometimes on the court, it's just a little bit of like, okay, well, we've just kind of got to make it work and see how it goes. But no, it's been pretty good. And there is enough, I think Google Translate's probably my most used app ever.
Yeah. And look, we all don't speak the same language, but you can speak one, and that's basketball. So that's something that's beautiful. And like you said, the friendships you've made when, you've been with the Opals and you versed China so much, you've made connections there, as well as then last year playing in the Chinese league. How great is it, like you said, when you get to reconnect with these ladies, go out for dinner, have a chat, and you're just humans at the end of the day. But how nice is that connection?
Oh, it's been honestly amazing and something that I've probably cherished nearly the most coming here to China. In particular, last year, being able to spend some time. When I first got there, we played Guangdong and then we had a 5-game series against them in the semifinals. So we spent a lot of time between, Guangdong and Inner Mongolia. So my two close friends in Li Wei and Wan Siqing, they really looked after me and we spent a lot of time just having dinners and talking and, talking about different things in basketball and in life and just reconnecting. And they were just so beautiful. Like, I'd always be like, let me pay this time. And they're like, no, no, no. In China, we pay. And when we come to Australia, I was like, oh God.
You
You
pay.
pay, yeah. So no, they've been super beautiful. And actually we just because we had the cup in their kind of province just recently. So we went out for dinner and we had like a Cantonese style dinner and we watched the Chinese national team. They played Brazil that night. And yeah, it was just amazing. Like, Li Wei doesn't speak the most amazing English, but we can all, like you said, basketball's the same language and just learning about each other's families and what we're doing in our off season, times like that, and how we're going, injuries, and relationships. So no, it's been super nice. And honestly, like I said, just reconnecting with all different players this season, coming back into China and, seeing how happy they are to see me when I came back, has been really special for me.
And then this season, like you said, you're now in Beijing. What's been a big difference that you've noticed, whether it be the people or how close things are to you compared to Beijing than Inner Mongolia? What's a big difference?
I mean, Inner Mongolia, look, I liked it, but there wasn't much, honestly. Like there was, yeah, it was
What
like
would
a
you
big
call
one.
it in regards to Australia? Like what city or suburb would Inner Mongolia be compared to Beijing? Or is that way too hard?
Like honestly, like a country town in like Queensland or Darwin or
Yeah.
something.
Hmm.
Like so much land area, but just basically just some random buildings and houses. There
Nuts.
wasn't really a whole lot
Yeah.
there. So, I mean, there was. I think there was a population of like maybe 5 million or
Oh, so
something. Oh, I could be really getting that wrong. Let me
yeah.
fact check that one. No, so they did have like quite a big population. That just obviously shows like how big China is and
Mm.
how much space they actually need. But the people of Inner Mongolia were super lovely. Like our crowds are always super packed because there's nothing else to do there, so people came and watched our games. Um, but I guess probably where we are in Beijing, so we live in like it's a government building. So basically for the Olympics they built this.
Yeah.
So there's a men's team here as well. We both live here and there's like there's different sports here and there's different like working, I guess, corporate people that use this building as well. But our stadium's next door. So it is really quite convenient to just have that next door. And look, Beijing's a super cool city. I've really loved getting to know Beijing. I was lucky enough when I got here to go visit, Tiananmen Square and to go visit like Joy City and all those different types of places and the palace. So that was really amazing to see. And China just has so much like amazing history and culture. So it is definitely different. I think probably I wasn't able to fully experience heaps when I got here just because we were playing and training so much. And I guess you know what it's like being an athlete. When you have 2 hours off, you're just
I
like,
need
"I
to
just need
yeah.
to rest," but you think horizontal. I need to get in the recovery boots now.
And okay, speaking of what helps you rest, you and I love a little sweetie treaty. What's been like a favorite sweet that you're being like, I need to bring like 10 kilos of this home with me because they don't have this in Australia?
Oh my God, you're gonna think it's so stupid, but they're called white rabbits, and
Oh,
they're like
yeah, here we go.
you know? So when I was home for a couple of weeks, Beck's apartment building had them at the front desk. So they're these like butter, they're probably so bad for me. Butter, chewy, like I love like a gummy lolly or like a chewy lolly. I'm a texture girl. And these are like, oh, they're like Milkos, but a better version of Milkos. You just have to be really nervous. Shout out to my dentist who's probably like, stop eating that. Sorry, Val. When I went home, I actually went to the dentist and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a cavity because I've eaten so many white rabbits in China.
So could not stop speaking about these white rabbits. And I was like, I don't understand. And it was Chinese New Year and my apartment building. There were families here that are put together a Chinese New Year on the Sunday. I
Yeah.
missed it, unfortunately, but the white rabbits were still there, like the decorations were up. And I was like, what is this girl talking about? So I took some and I had one and I was like, it is quite nice.
Yeah.
Not more, I'm more a sour girly, but it
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
nice. It was beautiful. But
You're like, I also nearly broke my teeth, so thanks,
so,
Alice,
yeah,
for
they're
letting me
hard.
know.
They're hard.
They're hard.
Don't munch on them.
So I'm
But
definitely bring back some white rabbits. I really love a white rabbit, I'm not gonna lie, but my teeth probably don't.
and now go back to the basketball, some more sweetie treaties to talk about. So
Yeah.
last season and this season, there's been great imports in the league. Not only obviously you as an Aussie, but I think a lot of people don't know last season, especially a lot of WNBA players come. Can you like name a few for people who don't really know just the sort of talent you're going up against game in? Oh,
Oh,
cheers.
cheers to that. Um, where are the drinks? Just kidding. Um, so last season, I was lucky enough to play with Kalani Brown, who's also playing here again this year, and she's a great import to play with. Really loved. She's such a sweet girl. Um, Before me was Natisha Heidemann, sorry, at my club. I'm trying to think like um Olivia Nelson Adota, Queen Egbo, she was there as well. Last season, Guangdong, who we played, they had Aaliyah Collier, and they've got her this again this year. There's like so many now. There's heaps of Australians in the league. I feel like it's not the WCBA; it's now the WNBL again. So, no, I'm kidding. Liz played in Sichuan last year. She's back here this year. Natasha Howard's here again. She's played a lot of years. But, even at my club, I had dinner with my Chinese agent last night, and just the depth of talent that have come through. Brianna Stewart, Sylvia Fowles, Maya Moore's played here as well.
Jonquel
Just
Jones as
incredible.
well. Does she?
Uncle
Yeah.
Jones stage. And she played here last year, actually. You're so right. She played here last year. Um, and I mean, they won that. Sorry, they didn't win last year, actually. I take that back. Guangdong won last year. But no, there's just amazing talent here in this WCBA, and every single game you're matching up against just the toughest of opponents. So I've really enjoyed the competition, and I guess it's a little bit like Europe, where I played in Europe. I've been lucky enough to play in the EuroLeague or the Euro Cup, or when I played in Turkey just recently. You're going up against the world's best players every single week. So you've got to be prepared to play, but it is a really good competition here.
And who's been this season or last season one of your toughest opponents that you've really enjoyed matching up against?
Probably, I think last year, Aaliyah Collier and we had a really good, I guess, battle
Yeah.
last year. She was a really tough opponent, and she had a really, really great final series. Probably this season, I'd say Natasha Howard. So she guarded me when we played them, and her length and her athleticism. Okay, I normally play the three, but that game I had to play a little bit of four. So that was a really good battle for me, and just to go up against, arguably one of the better WNBA players that the league has seen was
Mhm.
really great too.
And last season, you were the only Aussie, and there hadn't been an Aussie for I don't know if it's ever
Liz and I,
or oh,
Liz and
sorry,
I,
Liz Cambage. Yes,
Liz.
she was there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but now, like you said, it's almost like the WNBL has gone. So Chelsea D'Angelo, she was there earlier on. Taylor Simmons was there
yeah.
earlier on. And then now
Mhm.
still there is you, Steph Reed. And then an announcement came that Zatina Kuzo and Kayla George are now coming over. What do you think, for your opinion, why the Chinese are maybe looking for Australians? Do you think one, is it Han Shu has just been here now? There's this correlation, or the rivalry of Australia versus China. Now they know how we play and how we just battle. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I think it's really a mixture of all those things that you said. I think recently, because of the Asian Cup, I'm sure that, me playing in the Asia Cup a couple of years ago and getting in the All-Star 5, that definitely helped my chances to play in China. People that play in China, I guess it's a certain type of player. You need to be a really physical player. I guess playing multiple positions really does help. And they do like big guards. I will say that. And if you're a big player, like a 4 or 5 coming to China, they do also really like them because they can be quite hard to find. So I think there's a whole mixture of things. I also definitely think that Chinese have such a strong relationship with the Australian system. And we have a really healthy relationship. We play a lot of series against one another. I think it's a really nice, special connection and respect between the two
Yeah.
countries, especially basketball terms. And I think that's really helped a lot of Australians get over here. But I also just think Australians are really happy-go-lucky people. And I think, look, I have played with some imports that are hard work. I've got to be honest. And when you compare Americans, and this isn't any disrespect to any player or any culture or anything like that, I just think sometimes Australians are really a lot easier to deal with. We are able to let things go quickly. We're pretty, if you say to me, I have to train 3 hours, well, I just got to
Yeah.
train 3 hours because that's part of the job. Whereas some people don't, can't get down like that. So I just think the way that Australians are, our personalities, we're really happy, we're bubbly, that's really helped. And, I was super lucky to get that opportunity last year. And hopefully that's helped a lot of girls come over here to see that this is the way that Australians compete. We compete really hard. We also want to have fun, but when we're on the court, we're working hard and we want to win. And I think that's really the Australian mentality.
And also, no one likes talking about money, but the money in China is a lot bigger than the money in the WNBL as well. And obviously, you don't just play for the money, but at the end of the day, you have to eat as well. You want to train hard,
Yeah.
work hard, be if it's the right system for you, have fun, but also you need to live as well. And you want to
Mm.
build a future for yourself, especially with women. We've never been paid as much compared to the men. The women before us paved the way to get what we are getting now, and we're doing the same for the women coming up. But do you think we'll actually see a lot more maybe WNBL girls potentially playing in China next season, just knowing, hey, okay, yes, a few of you played the whole season this year, but some are coming for a little dabble to see what it's like. What do you think it will be like maybe next season?
I for sure think there'll be a lot more players trying to get over to China. When I know I spoke to Sarah Blitzars when she signed here, and
Mhm.
I have seen China money because obviously I was lucky enough to play in Inner Mongolia last year, and that's quite a wealthy club. Um, she was just like, the money is just insane, and compared to Australia, it's nothing that we've ever seen before. And I know you say like it's not all about the money, and it's not. I played my just like you. We played our whole career with loyalty, playing for teams with really good coaches to progress our career.
Yeah.
I've done that for so many years, I can't even count, and I know you've done exactly the same.
We
And
got a lot of peanuts there, Al,
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
A plus for loyalty.
Go to the circus with those peanuts, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and like you said, the generation before us paved the way for us, and we're doing it for the next generation. But while I can still play and my body, touch wood, is healthy, and I still have the opportunity to play to when you get the opportunity to play in a country like China and you can save so much money here and the salary that you do get, you take that opportunity. And yes, it comes with, working super hard. It's a language barrier, it's a cultural difference. You're not seeing your family and friends, you're training so much, but that's the sacrifice that you make for the long term. And that's life-changing money that can really set you up for, that helps you pay off your mortgage or invest
Yeah.
in different things. Or, if you want to have some time off, you've got some money, in your bank account saved to give you that little bit of, leisure.
Because we're adults now.
I know.
Well, you've been my mother slash sister for a while, but you adult now, so it makes a big difference in your back end of your career.
For sure. And, I still want to play to win championships and to play in good
Yeah.
winning teams. But at the end of the day, I'm 35 years old and my career is not going to go forever. So you have to look after yourself and you have to put yourself first. And that's probably something in the last couple of years that I've really made that, I guess so much of mine was, playing in front of teams or playing, to make the Australian team or doing this for the Australian team.
Yeah.
And once I was able to, step back from that and say, look, that part of my life is done. And, I'm super grateful for all the years that I played for the national team, but now I just play for me. I play for my,
Yeah.
the name on my back, my family, the pride. You play for yourself. And I think that's really when the joy comes. And I know me and you have really spoken about that you really just find so much joy playing. And I know I said, I'm 35 years old, but I'm having so much fun and I feel like I'm playing
Fun.
some of my best basketball because I don't have that pressure or expectation or stress on me. I'm just, I guess, playing for fun. But I hope
Play for fun and still in your prime, girl.
thank you. I hope
Say
for the
louder
next,
for the people in the back.
I hope the next generation of girls, coming through can really appreciate just how much we have come a long way. I am so grateful for every contract that I get. I can hand on my heart tell you that my first contract with Bulleen was $1,000, for a whole season.
Yeah.
And I worked and studied full time. So
Yeah.
that's just the differences in where things are now. And you hear players asking for $100,000, like, their second year out. And I'm like, oh my golly, it's insane. But
Oh
you
my
know,
golly, exactly.
each to their own. But no, I think a lot of players will probably try and come to China if they can get the opportunity. And China, like I said, China's a really good league.
hmm And you said it earlier as well. Obviously, Liz has been playing in China for a while now, Liz Cambage, and then this is your second season. And then for the first time, Sarah Blitzov's, so more eyes on it because she, I guess, left during the middle of a WNBL season. So, like, you've helped almost be a pioneer for this, right? Now, on the other hand, Han Shu from China going to the WNBL, do you think she'll now maybe be a pioneer for the Chinese players to potentially be like, hey, we've been playing in the Chinese league for so long, let's go try the Australian league?
Well, I hope so because what Han did for basketball in China and in Australia was pretty remarkable. And she had an incredible season at the Perth Lynx. And I think just to see, like we said, that connection between Australia and China is pretty amazing. And the girls here, they just train so hard. And sometimes I just want to be like, I just wish you could go and see the world and go and see like what it's like. Like I was speaking to one of our younger players yesterday and she was telling me about what they did for like training last season. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are so young. You're 24 years old and all you know is the basketball court. And I
Yeah.
was like, Jessie, what do you do in your downtime? Do you read a book? She's like, no, I just like lay or, watch something. I was like, I think you should study. You need to look at traveling. But this is their whole life. They are
Yeah.
here 10 months of the year and they're
Yeah.
all together for so long of the year. So I would love for more of them to go play in Australia or go play overseas, like Lee Yuru as well. She's gone overseas and played, and she's been super successful. She played in Unrivaled. She played in Europe and in the W as well. So if we can see more of those girls going and playing, I think it's great for their national team, for their culture, and just for their life experience as well.
And literally could speak to you forever about your journey with
Hey, love my new
It's-
Stanley.
right. All
Right.
right, well, let's go.
Yeah.
Cheers, AK.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Love my Stanley.
We were called Salt and Pepper. in 3x3, and so I bought us both Stanleys. I'm salt,
I
she's
love it.
pepper, clearly.
Yeah.
So, back on track. China, but before that, you've spent about what, 7 seasons in Europe, or is it more than that?
Mhm. I think it's probably 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Can you tell us? I just want to give a little recap. Where are some of the teams you've played, the countries you've been in? Go.
Wow. Oh, okay. I started I was like, wow. I started my European career in Lyon,
Mhm.
and I played 3 years in Poland. Or 4 years in Poland, in a place called Toron. I played 3 years in Gdynia. I played in Sopron in Hungary, and then I went back to Lyon. So I've been super fortunate to play in Europe and absolutely loved my time in Europe. There was a lot of highs, a lot of lows, won some championships, made lifelong friendships along the way, got to experience EuroLeague, um, Euro Cup journey. It was just an amazing, amazing experience. Sorry, I played in Turkey. Oh yeah, dear gosh. Sandra Sully with the late news over here. Gosh, it was like last week. Yeah, I've just been super fortunate to play over in Europe for so many years. And yeah, like I said, just made lifelong friendships, incredible memories. It probably taught me the most about myself out of everything. And I know going overseas and playing in Europe isn't for everyone. It's tough, it's 8 to 9 months. Sometimes you can sign in a team that things change and, you're promised one thing, but what happens is completely different. So, it's a lot of soul searching, I guess you could say. But no, it's been an incredible journey, super fortunate. I'm not opposed to saying I wouldn't go back to Europe, but I'm also just very open to seeing whatever's meant to be will be. Um, but yeah, I really believe that, people who haven't gone, and I know you just went and played in New Zealand last season before you got injured, and even you said, like, just to experience a different culture and
Yeah.
to see new things and meet new people is just so amazing. And I really believe that, for the next generation coming through, yes, Australia is an amazing place, a great league, a great place to play. But if you can go overseas and broaden your horizons, learn about a new culture, it just opens your eyes up to so much in the world.
And I think that's such a good, just wise comment that you've said for future young
Mhm.
ballers who are coming up or at that stage of do I, don't
Yeah.
I, just try it. So I think they're great words for, young basketballers as well. And maybe what's one moment in Europe that you think was really pivotal for, let's just not off court, but let's go basketball,
Mhm.
that you think, hey, that just really elevated my basketball and got me, from playing in a good team to, geez, I'm playing with big time baddie ballers now. I'm one of those girls.
Well, I think look, I have played a lot of years in Europe, so I'm very well respected in Europe and now in China, and I'm
Mhm.
very grateful for that. But it hasn't come with a lot of like without a lot of hard work. And
Yeah.
Europe can be a real big grind. And I think probably the biggest moment that I really think of is the year that I first played in Gdynia, and I'm gonna do a shout out to Beck Allen here. There's another player that just has grinded in Europe for so many years and deserves all the respect and accolades that she's got and all the contracts that she's got because no one really understands just how tough Europe can be. And she'd played in Gdynia before. She left to Valencia, then I came to play in Gdynia, and that was the COVID year. So I'd come off the year in Sydney, and then basically my second last game, I tore my elbow, completely destroyed it, had like a 6-month elbow reco, and then got the offer to play in Gdynia. And that was the COVID year. We didn't have any crowds. We still played in the EuroLeague bubble, but yeah, I was really fortunate. I had a really great season. I think like I was second leading in the league in EuroLeague for that kind of bubble,
Yeah.
which was great for me, it was something that
Insane. So
thank
good.
you. And, especially because I, missed out on national teams being the last card a couple of times. And that point I wasn't in the squad. So I wouldn't even say for validation for anyone else, but more just for myself.
Mhm.
Um, and in the cup, I actually I rolled my ankle really badly in the cup game. This was like about a month before finals. And I remember rolling it so badly. And I looked down and I was like, oh, it's okay. Like I've taped my ankle. And I was like, I don't tape. So I
Because it
was
was
like,
that thick.
It was like straight away, it was like a balloon, like it was huge. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Like, because I went down and I was like, oh, it's okay. I've taped. And then I was like, I don't tape. I was like, hang on a
Oh
second. I
God.
was like,
Yeah.
that's a ball. It was like this big ball. Anyway, so um obviously get a scan. My ankle is totally destroyed. I'd like pretty much done every single ligament possible. They actually wanted me to go in for surgery, and I was like, nah, I just don't think I want to do a surgery. So
Yeah.
for that 3 weeks, I rehabbed with my physio at the time, Norby. He was the actual best. He was so
Alison
great.
sent me a photo and her
Oh,
ankle,
that's
foot,
so bad.
slightly up her calf was like literally black. It
It
was
was
black.
so bad.
It was
I,
insane.
I remember my brother said to me, it looks like my grandma's leg. Oh, Andrew, it's so bad. Bless, rest in peace. But like it just looked horrendous.
Yes, we
Like
love
it
you,
looked,
Barker.
yeah, we love her. Anyway, so rehab with Norby for like every day. I think it was like 4 hours every single day. I'd go in the hyperbaric chamber every day and came back for the playoff series. We won the title and I was MVP of the final series. Yeah, final series. And yeah, I think that was a real moment where I was just like, oh no, I deserve to be here,
Yeah.
regardless of what other people think of me, other coaches' opinions or national team or this or that. I deserve to be here, and I proved that to myself, and no one can take that away from me. And from then I had multiple contract offers to go play other places. I did stay in Gdynia that year, but then in that year again, I had multiple offers from Fener and Russia to go, to be bought out to go leave. And then that following year, I signed in Sopron, who had just won the EuroLeague the year before. So I think that was probably the real point in my career where, I was playing in these big teams
Yeah.
and playing with, superstar
Mm.
players and against superstar players. And I finally, I guess, felt like I belonged in the room.
Yeah.
And that was a probably real moment for me where I was like, regardless of anything, what everyone said about me or this or that, like, no, I belong to be here. And that was probably the pivotal turning point in my career.
Well, you are a superstar, not only on the court, but off the court too.
Which I
You're a
love.
beautiful human. And now I want to go on the court. Love you.
Love it.
Off the court, you said again, Europe. You're European and you've grown up in a like European household, but still,
Yeah.
again, it's another culture shock. You have some teammates who don't speak English at all. They might have families, and it can be very lonely, soul searching. Again, like we've spoken on the phone multiple times. What was maybe one thing that you really learned, whether it was about yourself or just maybe to realize, okay, there's more to life than just basketball, and a game doesn't define me with how many, points
Mm.
I score. Like we've all been there.
Mm. Oh, look, I will say, I feel like, I mean, I know we're not going to get too deep, but it's a basketball podcast, but also life. I feel like, honestly, our friendship over the years has really gotten me through so many hard times. And I feel like I can't even count the amount of times that you've really talked to me, it calmed me down. And I think our friendship and relationship has really bloomed. And I've been gone for what, 8 years. So
Mhm.
I think that's the real power of connection and friendship. And our friendship obviously has been super special over these years. And we've just kept in contact, even when, we're so many miles away from one another. But like you said, I was lucky enough to grow up super European. My grandparents were Croatian and Slovenian on my dad's side, and my mum's side was Irish. And they lived next door to us my whole life. So basically, I was raised very European. Definitely did not have the typical Australian upbringing, but it definitely put me in good stead, while the other kids are playing in the
Amen.
playground slinging bricks,
Yeah.
like, like I remember one day I was like, I was still sleeping in or something because you were never allowed to sleep in as a European kid, and my window was open, and my grandma started hosing through the thing to wake me up. I was like, really? Just come upstairs and wake me up.
I play.
Anyway, so no, I definitely think the friendships and connections have really got me through those times in Europe. I was really lucky to play with, amazing people in Europe. And like I said, I've got lifelong friends. I was actually talking to one of my teammates I was able to play with twice in Poland, Anna Maria Begic. I was speaking with her yesterday. and she's Croatian as well, so we definitely have that connection and we could understand that. But that was just so special for me that we're still to this day, we don't have to speak every single day, but just the lifelong friendships that you make along the way and the memories and the moments that get you through. And I think if you really have good people around you, you can honestly get through anything. And there's definitely been times where I wasn't sure if I can get through things, or if I, wasn't sure how I was gonna make it through a season. But, you find that inner strength with you, and you learn about different cultures, and it really opens up your mind, opens up your eyes to different things. And I think that's been really important for me, is that I was raised that way. I saw what my grandparents came from. They came to Australia with just the shirt on their back and maybe a little bag or something. I'm not sure. They fled Croatia and Slovenia, and my grandpa went to jail for a year, and they came to Australia and made a better life for us. So when I think of those moments, I'm just like, no, Alice, you're so lucky. You have so much going for you. You've got such a beautiful family, beautiful friends. You've got so much help
Mm.
around you. And I think nowadays we talk about social media and, mental health, and we've all, like we say, we've all gone through our fair share
Yeah.
and our moments. But I think the moments for me are a lot less now, because I guess what's happened in my
Yeah.
life and my journey, I've just got so much perspective that nothing can really break me anymore. I've been through probably the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And it's about what you put on, like the impact that you put it on your life. And, everyone's like, "Oh, you just, like, let things go." And I'm like, "Yeah, because what's
Mm.
the point?" Like, okay, yeah, there's definitely times where you dwell on something
Yeah.
for a day, but then you just gotta remind yourself, "Hey, like, I'm so lucky. I've got so much going for me. I've got a roof over
Mhm.
my head. I've got food on the table." And what is going especially on in the
Yeah.
world right now, which is just so scary and so sad, and I just feel for so many people. Um, we're just lucky. And not every day is an amazing day, but you've got to find the positive out of that. And being around all these different cultures has really helped me and shaped me to be the person I am. And probably shout out to Paul Kunek, because that man can always give me a reality check.
We love you, PK.
Yeah, I love you, Dad. But dear God, that man will always give me a reality check. He's like, Alice, it could be worse. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It can. It can always be worse. So yeah, I think that's been really a really big thing for me.
And honestly, we could speak forever, but Alice, obviously you said it.
Gotta cut me
You
off.
no, no, no. You have
Just kidding.
had an amazing career today. Yeah, still so long to go. Everyone watch her in the Chinese league right now. If you're not, it's a bit hard to watch, but you can do it if
It's
you,
hard to watch.
yeah.
Just super hard. You have to download a VPN. You have to download an app. You have to download this. Oh
But
God,
reach
even
out to
man, I'm
Alice
like,
if you want to know how to
yeah,
watch her. But like you said,
I'm probably going to help you.
sport is filled with the highest of highs, lowest of lows, and you have done so much in your basketball career. If there's anything you want to leave to the next generation, any piece of advice for any basketballer right now, the floor is yours.
Oh, the floor's mine. Um, Look, the journey is what you make of it. I will definitely say that. And like we both have been through the highest of highs, your knee surgeries, injuries, setbacks, disappointments, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. But you've got to just be grateful for the journey. And your journey is only your journey, and no one can take that away from you. And I think that the older you get and the more experience you get in your career, it really makes you a more well-rounded person. And just have gratitude for the career, for the opportunity to play basketball. Not so many people would want to walk in our shoes. Look, I'd love to say it's all like sunshine and roses, but it's not. It's tough. It's tough being away and you're missing a lot of things, but it's only a small portion of your life. So, go and soak up all those experiences, go and live in different countries, go learn new cultures, meet new people, because it's only going to put you in steadfast for the rest of your life. But I also think a big thing with that is, surround yourself with great people. And I can honestly say, like, my family and my friends have got me through just, some of the hardest of times. And if you surround yourself with good people and you are a good person in your career, you may not always be the most talented, but if you can be a good person and a great teammate, you're going to go a long way in your career and back yourself. It's a hard one, but yeah.
Amen, sister. Well, Alice, thank you so much. Also, trying to be professional, calling you Alice is so weird. But Alice, thank you so
Yeah, you're like,
thank you so much for joining me on It's a Cold World. And good luck for the rest of the Chinese season. I love you.
I love you and thank you so much for having me and thank you for all you're doing in the women's basketball space in Australia. You're amazing.
Oh, I appreciate you. Back at you.
Mhm.